Hi guys, hope you're all okay. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. This is the third and final part of the Radioddity RD-5R series of videos. This last one is just a short FAQ. Basically, I was asked a lot of questions repeatedly in the comments on the last video, so I thought I'd just clear those up in one video today. I answered quite a lot in the comments, but I just wanted to do a video to clear the sort of most asked questions. So, a few weeks ago I did do a review and test video on this radio. It was sent to me by Radioddity, and I thought it was great, and I still do. I've been playing around with it ever since and just can't fault it at all. It's a dual bander, and the thing that was good about it is it's such a low price point on this radio. It's great for entry-level DMR rather than going out spending hundreds on a radio that you may not like or on a mode that you may not use. This costs peanuts and is a great way of getting into the DMR hobby. So I'm just going to do a short, crude video on the questions that I was asked. I've got the laptop here with them on, so I'm just going to go through and answer them for you. So the first one is it true tier 2? So yeah, it is. It supports, or it will work with other Motorola DMR radios, other TYT, Hytera DMR radios, all of the DMR radios that are out in the market. It will work with them, and it will work on DMR repeaters as well, unlike the DM5R. The next one is, does it support TDMA? So yeah, it does. Unlike the Baofeng DM5R, this doesn't transmit on slot 1 and slot 2 simultaneously. It just transmits on one or the other depending on which one you program in the radio or within the programming software. The next one was, are Baofeng doing anything about the colour on the buttons rubbing off? So on some Baofengs, mainly the cheaper ones you buy, a lot of them are clones, and it is a minefield out there knowing whether you've got a true Baofeng UV5R or not. Some of them have really soft buttons on, and the colour, the black and the print actually rubs off them. This one, like a lot of my other UV5R models, has the quite hard rubber buttons, and there's no issue with the colour rubbing off them. It generally happens on the softer buttons, so yeah, it shouldn't be an issue at all. Is the small display good for texting and other stuff, just other than talking? Yeah, so you can text on this radio. It is easy to do despite the small screen. You just type from the keypad itself. I had no issues doing that. The next one was, can you scan up and down easily like you can in a UV5R? You can on the analog side, so it will scan the VFO on the analog side, but it won't scan the VFO on the digital side like a lot of other DMR radios. So basically, if you want to listen to a digital signal on this, then you need to program that frequency in with all the relevant parameters, i.e. talk group, slot, colour code, frequency and things like that. You can't scan the VFO in DMR and just lock onto a DMR signal and expect it to decode. It doesn't work like that. You have to program it in. Can it be manually programmed? Because Linux users tend to struggle with this sort of stuff. It can be manually programmed, but for the true DMR side of things, you need to put a code plug in, and unfortunately the software at the moment only works on Windows. There are ways to get it to work on Linux, but I'm not an expert on that, so I'll leave that to you guys. But yeah, you can't program all the DMR side of things via the keypad. The next one that was asked quite a lot is the RD-5R basically a GD77 inside? No, it's similar. It's a similar radio, but it does have slightly different features and settings that the GD77 has, so it's not the same radio inside. Another question that was asked a lot is, does it support promiscuous mode? No, it doesn't. A lot of DMR radios do nowadays, but this one doesn't. Like the TYT MD380 didn't until the software was hacked. This one also doesn't support promiscuous mode. Another really good question was, basically, I'm new to Baofeng. What does this offer that the UV5R doesn't? Well, basically, it's very similar to the UV5R, other than the fact that this is digital. This is DMR, digital mobile radio. So if you're watching this and you're not sure what DMR is, then have a look around on the internet and you can find plenty of information about it. But basically, this supports both modes. Other than that, it's very, very similar to a UV5R. Just this does support digital. Another question was, how does the front end cope with signal overload? Some UV5Rs and some Baofeng models get absolutely hammered by splatter from interference from like mobile phone masts and things like that. I actually tested this radio on the top of my local hill, which does have a transmitter site on it, and I never had any issues with front end overload. I have on other Baofeng radios, but this didn't seem to be affected at all, and those antennas up there are pagers, police tetra, mobile phones, so they're just hammering out high-powered splatter all over the bands, but this didn't seem to be affected by it, which is a positive. And the last question was, what bands does it cover? So it does cover both bands, UHF and VHF, on analog and DMR, so 136 to 174 megahertz and 400 to 470 megahertz. So it covers 270 and sort of any other band within that frequency range, and it does have a FM radio on there. So that's it, guys. That was the majority of the questions that were asked. There were some more, but I answered them in the comments, but these were sort of the frequently asked questions on the RD-5R. So I hope that sort of cleared it up. That really concludes a series of videos on this radio. Again, still highly recommend it. I've been using this for a few weeks now, not had any issues, and it's definitely a nice little radio for getting into DMR, so I'd highly recommend it. And we'll leave that one there, guys. If you have any questions, comments or suggestions, drop them in the box below and I'll get back to you. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. Loads of radios, as you can see behind, ready to review, so there's plenty more coming on the channel. And other than that, guys, I'll say 7-3 for now. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.